This video is brought to you by the Catch-All system.
Nvidia invests in OpenAI. OpenAI buys Nvidia chips. There's a guy who put out a really good infographic on it.
Insurance companies are going to be done coming out to roofs. Meeting adjusters on site will be over within 3 years.
I mean, look what happened to Google. Look what happened to Facebook is free.
Right now, today, I would say a ChatGPT Unlimited subscription with Codex on your computer connected to your cell. That would be what 90% of people would have an incredible result with.
The best AI is the one you actually use.
To analyze consumer behavior, nobody likes it. I would argue that 99% of people don't want egg turned into the chicken on your stove. Like, just because it can do something does not mean it should.
Whatever you are comfortable using and you started training, just run with it. Right?
Welcome back to Roofing Insights podcast. Today, everything about AI. And we have a perfect guest all the way from Florida. I'm just kidding, Canada. Adam Sand. Adam, when are you going to be in Florida?
I am working on immigration again, man. It's tough at the border these days, but we're working on it.
Hey, if you need a boat, from Minnesota to maybe Boundary Waters, like just
I was thinking I'd dress up in a salmon suit and then jump off the coast of Vancouver. I get caught in a Washington Fisher's net, and then I'd go to Costco and somebody would get me in bulk, and then I would jump out of the wrapper when I get put in the freezer, and then I'd just like assume the family's identity.
I told you. Canadians have the weirdest fantasies.
I think it's AI. I think AI is affecting your brain, Adam.
I've been saying that for 5 years, long before ChatGPT was there to help. We're Canadian, we're innovators, and we're comics. Okay, that's why we come down and make movies for you guys.
Well, I'm gonna start with this. There's a beautiful quote by Mark Cuban. Quote goes like this: there are generally two types of LLM users: those that use to learn everything, and those that use it so they don't have to learn anything. And I would also add a third category: is there's those who are trying to boost their ego and asking ChatGPT how great they are, like write a poem about me, or with everything you know about me, tell me.
Yeah.
Like draw a picture of me. Yeah.
Do
you agree with that quote?
Was it?
Do you agree with that quote?
In general, I would agree with it. I mean, especially with your addition, there's a funny graphic that goes around. It's kind of like the bell curve chart, right? Where it's like, I use AI to help me write emails. And then there's like the people who like overcomplicate the heck out of it. That's your ego group. And then you have another group on the other side that just uses AI as a tool like anything else. And so it's kind of like Mark Andreessen recently said it on the All In podcast. He called it retard maxing, where it's like you're just, and that's might not like, it's kind of a word that got him in a little bit of trouble, but it's got some wind behind it. But because of the sycophantic nature of AI and the content producers out there making so much money just making YouTube videos about AI, like today, Claude Mythos dropped, and every YouTuber is going to come out and say, Claude's new Fable 5 model destroys everything. Everything's different. So there's a ton of ego in the place, and the sycophantic nature of AI, it fulfills that ego a ton. So I agree with you.
I love the term retard maxing. I would add that ego maxing. A lot of people are doing that.
I would say it's a perfect echo chamber, right? Whatever you teach your ChatGPT or whatever AI you're using, and you keep blowing up that information, like, and it learns your style more, and it learns how you want things written, like it becomes an echo chamber. And so it's no different than social media, where people they're only in groups that share political views with them and share the interests with them. And then like suddenly they're like, yeah, the whole world agrees with me. I'm right. It's like they're starting to turn their AIs into their own yes men. And that's really what's screwing them.
Well, I want to start with my first segment here is everyday use. Obviously, Adam, you're more on implementation. Sam, you everyday business owner. You run companies. You have employees. Managing a relationship with the clients. Every day, what AIs do you use daily? Start first thing in the morning.
Adam's probably uses twice as much as me, but Adam, I'd love to hear yours first. Then I can share my AI routine, as we'll start calling it.
Yeah. Well, I would say the first thing I'm doing is reviewing the business. So there's an agent loop, right? And all that means it's like a routine. It does it every day. And so it'll analyze the service tickets that we have in the business, the new customers that are coming in, any of the calendar meetings I have. And then it basically tells me like, what is the general thesis of the tickets that have come in for like what our customers are requesting. And then new leads kind of tells me what their companies are, where they're from. And then any appointments on my calendar, it kind of pulls recent notes and it researches the prospect. So it'll tell me, oh, this roofer is this person. They were featured in this. And it just puts that all onto, now it's really cool. It just puts it onto a little like web page that updates every day. So I kind of have my daily brief. Another cool one that I built was kind of like I get sucked into like me being an enthusiast on this topic and other topics like politics. I get sucked into the social media doom scroll right out of bed, and I hated that. So I actually made like this really beautiful thing that I call it the Sand Daily, and it looks like a newspaper, like parchment paper, nice fonts,
The
nice.
Sand, like the Adam Sand Daily, like a newspaper just for you.
Yeah, and it's a newspaper just for me, and it just
That's
basically
fun.
curates. It gets rid of all the AI fluff. Like one of like the prompts is like, of all the things that came out today, take all the parts that are the same and just give me the little bits that were different in all of their content, and then write a nice little article for me that just has the things that were different. So I don't need to hear that Claude, Mythos and Fable 5 dropped today 6 times from 6 influencers, but get me their own unique takes and then write an article as if it was interviewing. And so it's just like a 5-page newspaper, but then I can like make my coffee, walk my dogs, and like scroll my own little personal newspaper with the news from today. But like how the videos were like, Donald Trump freaks out on so and so. And then some dude shows like 45 minutes of video where you get to the end and Donald Trump is just like, I've had enough, It's like, I don't need the 45-minute video and all your commentary. Just tell me what happened at the end, or at 30
Adam,
45-minute video.
Adam created his own journal and reads it daily. What about you?
My end of day routine is actually more interesting, but every morning at 5 a.m. I have where so I have it connected to Telegram so it can message me as well. So every morning it starts with like a motivational quote that I haven't heard before. So it knows like the people I like and the type of stuff I like. So every day I wake up and like, there's a motivational quote. Same time my alarm goes off, it's the first message. And it always like reminds me like lock in for the day, focus on that. But then at 7 a.m. I have my financials come through. So it's connected to QuickBooks and all of our AR invoicing and everything. So it shows me, and it's all of our bank accounts, all of our credit cards. So every morning in the finances, I can see where are we up or down? Is AR up? Is AP up? How's invoicing? It shows me which clients of ours are the most overdue on invoices and like shows me where I need to focus. So the morning stuff, it's like what you would typically have your bookkeeper email you every morning and look through. I have that all completely automated now. The end of day is the R&D. So 7 p.m. I have throughout my entire day, every email, every message, every Facebook message, every text, everything goes through my phone. And then every conversation I have an AI transcriber that every conversation I have everywhere with me, it's recording every conversation. And it takes everything from all of my messages and emails, and then everything from my conversations through day. And every day at 7, it tells me it's an R&D report. So I have like 5 different agents that talk to each other, and they come down with like, hey, for the business, here's what you should be focusing on now. And then here's one new idea we haven't talked about before. So it's like this constant like thought maker, but also like this like rundown of my day of like, here's what happened, here's what you need to fix. So those are the big like routine things I do daily.
Number one, can you name number one AI tool for personal daily use? What is it for you, Adam? Is it Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini?
I'm using OpenClaw and Hermes, but my answer for everybody else would probably be just use today. Like the answer changes so often. Sam, you and I joked about this online once, but
I know.
right now, today, I would say a ChatGPT Unlimited subscription with Codex on your computer connected to your cell. That would be what 90% of people would have an incredible result with.
The best AI is the one you actually use, right? So I've tried to put people onto Claude and all this other stuff, and I tell everyone like, whatever you are comfortable using and you started training, just run with it, right? Like Claude's better in a lot of ways, or like Hermes versus OpenClaw. It's like I already had OpenClaw set up when Hermes came out. Like I tried Hermes, I'm like, it does essentially the same thing. OpenClaw's good enough, so I stuck with OpenClaw. But like whatever you're using, whatever you've trained, and the nice part is like the way AI is getting now is I can actually take everything from one AI agent and I can load it to another one instantly. Like it's all downloaded. It's a very quick process to do, and so it's like. Now switching has gotten easier to the point where like it almost doesn't matter. Anyone I talk to, they still have the full context of my business. But if you're an individual that's not going that in depth with it, it's like whatever you're using, just use it. Just use one, stick with it. Don't actually, the way Adam started talking about the hype is really the big thing. Like whenever it's telling you like, oh, go with this one, go with that one. It's like, just use whatever you're using. It's probably 90% as good as there is.
Yeah. Like that it's whatever you're using, just get better with it. You
Yes.
know, like Claude's theory is a bunch of tabs in your browser with AI inside. Codex is a bunch of tasks in Codex with a browser inside. So it's like things along the top, AI inside, or things along the side with a browser inside. It's the same thing powered by two models that are so close that 95% of people aren't smart enough to actually push it. So it's like, what is the user interface that jives with your brain?
And I would say 90% of business owners shouldn't touch it because they're going to love it. They're going to dive in. It's going to take all their time. Like it's taking all my time. It's taking all of Adam's time. Now it's just our life. And, you can build stuff with it, but really like every business should have like an AI or a tech individual, right? In my company, I have Alex. And Alex, like that is his main thing is that's all he does is he's building continuously with AI. As an owner, you can get sucked into it really quick and spend a ton of time on that rather than working on your business or even in the business. And so like, I know it's a lot of business owners that listen to this. And so it's like, if you're a business owner, hire someone to learn it and have them teach you the basics, but don't spend all of your time trying to figure it out. That's the biggest thing for business owners. Cause you could spend, Adam knows I lock myself in my basement for 20 hours every weekend, like, cause I'm constantly bugging him about stuff. It's like 20 hours a weekend locked in a basement. That's all I'm doing. It's time consuming.
Yeah, like I'm in the position where I sell my knowledge with AI. So
Yeah.
it is a revenue source. It's like saying roofers shouldn't make content for roofers. You know what I mean? It's like roofers do not need to become AI experts. They just need to become AI native businesses.
Uh, any stories, any time where AI actually failed you? You gave it a task, rely on the result,
Yeah.
and
About
I
25% of the time. Yeah.
want I want to hear that. Like, when did it actually fail you?
AI, I have a project in my computer which is like called Make AI Answer Email Better Than a $5 an Hour Filipino VA. That's like the name of the project because of all the things that I've done, I cannot make it run email better than I still have an executive assistant. She lives in Hawaii. She's a teacher. It's not some $5 an hour person, but I can't even get it do better than a $5 an hour person. So to send blank emails, it wouldn't mark emails read, so it would respond to emails 5 times every 8 minutes. It would send the wrong things. It would forget to CC the right people. Like responding to email is probably the hardest. Like getting it to truly make your email autonomous is it shows great in a demo and it's absolutely underperforms in real life.
I would say it's doable, but only on specific roles. As an owner, as a business owner, Adam, it's yes, there's too much things. You need an actual person doing it. But individual roles, like the public adjusters on our team, like their AI, because they can look at like it's one claim. So they can dig through everything on that claim file, can look at all the attachments, they can look at that stuff. So if it's like automating for individuals or if you work inside a company and you have one role, it's pretty easy. If you do a lot of like repetitive tasks, you can automate it. But yes, for an owner or any higher up in a company where you have multiple different roles and hats you wear and you're like making decisions, yeah, email it just there's no way for it to understand the full picture of anything.
Yeah, the source, the single brain is very difficult to build, and it's the most important step to running a truly AI native company. And that's the part that nobody's doing. They're just building workflows, right? It's a Zapier workflow with intelligence doing something in the middle. That's all most of what people are using AI today is. The other thing I'd say for roofers is that it's not quite a field app yet. It's not yet at the place where you can open up something on your phone, take a bunch of pictures on a roof, shoot at the Eagle View measurements and get a consistent, repeatable proposal just yet.
Adam, I know we're meeting tomorrow, but I have something to show you. We're doing that at a pretty high success rate right now. I'll show you.
So that's good, but it is a tool that you're building. You can't
Yes.
use Claude or
No.
ChatGPT or OpenClaw or Hermes to do it yet. You have to build an application layer in front of it.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, you have
Anyways, but everything else now, I have not opened a piece of software on my computer in I think it's 7 months now. I literally open HubSpot, QuickBooks, Supabase, Vercel, everything I open inside of Codex now. I don't open even applications anymore. Everything runs from one window. So the super app concept is great, but it's not a super field app yet.
And if we're talking about where it fails, RLS, I mean, we don't have to get in the weeds of it, I guess, but Adam, security, building apps, actually protecting it. Like if you go on any AI page right now, it's all everyone's talking about is, oh, security, you have to have this, you have to have this, make sure you do this. Like if you just have AI build you an app, it is not secure. It is not building the back end processes. And I don't even know all the tech terms. I could probably say better than I do. But like I see scopes like, oh my gosh, I wonder if mine did it. And then I have to go back to my AI and go, hey, check if we did this on everything and show me how to fix it. So there's a lot of knowledge you have to have on top of it.
The cybersecurity problem is huge. And if people wanted something to Google from this podcast or point the audio at your agent to like take the transcript, is you want to learn how to chmod certain credential files on your computer. You don't need to know what it is. It just makes it so certain files can only be edited by an admin. 2, tail scale, get a private VPN for your company. It's free, right? It's free for up to 3 users and 100 devices. So get that in your company. And the last thing is if you're vibe coding the thing, because like so many people think that every roofer has become a tech founder in the last 2 years. And so if you're vibe coding something, just make it so that you and anybody working with you sets it so your package manager can't update anything until that update has been out for 3 days. If you just do those 3 things, and that third one is the most important, because the supply chain attacks are crazy. And all that means is it's like if you're trying to buy those little Keurig cups for your office, right? And you want to be super secure, no one can poison the cups. You say, okay, we're not going to buy it from the store, and we're not going to buy it from Amazon. We're going to drive our own truck to the K-Cup factory and buy the K-Cups as they come off the assembly line. But the problem is that people are poisoning the beans on the boat before they even get to Keurig. That's what's happening with these packages, is that all of this stuff is run by maintainers. Half the time it's people who do the work for free just to get credit so they can get a job at Amazon or Facebook or Google or Netflix or whatever. And those accounts have long since been abandoned, but they're still listed as maintainers, people who can update this library. People compromise those accounts, update the script, and then put malicious code in there that starts exposing everything, your API keys, your SSH tokens, all this stuff that if you're a vibe coder and you don't know, like vibe coding and agentic engineering, it's a blurry line. But if you're building your own shit and you're not aware of supply chain attacks and you're not aware of the package dependencies, you are leaving yourself wide open. And I guess the fourth thing that a company owner has to be aware of is like some little Johnny is going to come to you and he's going to say, hey, can I get an API key because I got this agent or I built this thing and I want to test it? And you as an owner are going to be like, yes, my team is using AI, because every CEO right now has a meme about them trying to token max the company. And so when he sees somebody using AI, they're like, yes. And then that API key is living on his computer or in his little app that he built in Replit or Lovable. And then he quits, he leaves. He could take your entire database of customers with 2 lines of code. So like API key maintenance is another massive, massive vulnerability that like is super basic.
Any comments?
What he said. That's it. Much longer winded that was said is like, just don't mess around. Like, like your API keys is enough to talk about, but like security, like when you start opening your systems to AI, you are opening it to the world. And if you don't know what you're doing, don't risk it. Find someone that knows what they're doing, or like spend the time to learn how to do it. Don't just go out there and be like, oh yeah, look, it did all this stuff now. And it's like, it's super vulnerable.
I did entire episode with my contractors this Monday where I pushed hard on AI marketing, and my next segment is my pushback on AI in marketing. So a lot of people make this mistake when they see that their AI, whatever it is, like you can do the prompt and you can say, advertise for me, do this. And I would say it's a big trap, because if you analyze consumer behavior, nobody likes it. I would argue that 99% of people don't want egg turned into the chicken on your stove. Like just because it can do something does not mean it should. So people absolutely hating on it. Everybody looks the same. Now you have, like in our space, all the roofers are doing same type of posts, same type of outreach, and nobody likes it. People like genuinely hate it. And what's the purpose of marketing? To be original, to stand out, to get attention. That's not getting you attention.
Yeah, but I would say like 99% people don't like being marketed to. So when you survey and they're like, well, we don't like AI slop. And it's like, well, you don't like any marketing. You know what I mean? Like 99% consumers don't like feeling sold. So it's like, I get that they hate it, but like ultimately it's hard. I would say AI does a better job than humans in a lot of senses. Like I've got stuff where I actually replied to someone a week ago. They had sent me to sign up for this. It was an appraisal directory for like appraisers across the country. And it was this email, sign up. And I was like, it's a vibe coded site. The email was AI. Like you could tell like someone vibe code the whole thing. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, but I replied to him. I said, I can tell it's vibe code and I know you guys didn't put this much into it, but I still really like the idea of this and I want to be a part of it. And so like I signed up for it. And then I got on the phone with the owner or the guy that runs it all, and it was a great conversation. So it's like, yeah.
But it's AI polished the message. But
Yeah.
what I'm talking to, like, I mean, our eye can spot right away if ChatGPT wrote it. And do you read post if it's obviously written by ChatGPT and it's like 3 paragraphs?
I don't read any, let me answer. I don't read any post that's 3 paragraphs. It doesn't matter who the hell, I don't care if it's AI or not. I'm not reading 3 paragraphs. I'm gonna read the first sentence. I might open it, go, that's a lot. Look at the image and scroll past, right? So people be like, well, no one wants to read AI. It's like, I didn't want to read anyone's thoughts that long, Adam? I mean, I read all of
I
your
said this
posts.
on the
Yeah,
last podcast. I
Adam,
said
what's
this on the
your-
last
what's your take?
podcast. AI is like plastic surgery. You only notice it when it's bad. I said that on the
Yes.
last podcast and I said the same. So, Dimitri, I've seen yellow hard hats on your directory ads, okay? On roofers on roofs wearing yellow hard hats, okay? I've seen, and so yes, people are using AI. And yes, if you see the M dashes and the word delve, it's a pretty safe bet that it was written by AI. But it's just another form of creative. So look at Spencer Pratt, right? In the California election. All of his stuff was AI generated and it was hilarious, right? And it got a lot of traction. There is a ton of AI generated ads right now, and you're not saying, oh, Gatorade used an AI generated video. Meanwhile, there's this ad for Reitmans that's going on like Amazon Prime right now, and it's the most cringy UGC content of like a girl going, "Oh, slay! Oh, this is awesome! Is it Reitmans? What?" And it's like it's cringy. My wife hates it, and it's not like cringy by intent. It's cringy like by accident, but it's real. It's like not AI, and so I would say that so like okay, so there is a line, just like plastic surgery being bad. Where's the line, and how do you make it good?
At some point, Adam's going to admit that he got plastic surgery to us. This is coming.
This when you want to try and use AI, think about it in terms of first mile, last mile. And so you are responsible for the first mile, setting AI in the right direction. Then you let AI do the work, and then you're part of the last mile, which is the curation. So really using AI for marketing is really just a matter of having closed loops of work with approval gateways. So you will have a strategy agent. Then that strategy agent, you set the strategy in the right direction, you give it a bunch of work to do, it comes back with a strategy, you're the last mile. Then there's a creative agent, and that creative agent has open loops where it can design an image, where it can design, then you storyboard a video, and then eventually that storyboard turns into animating each section of the video. I've got a video coming out that like you'll be able to tell it's AI. There's little spelling errors and stuff like that. But everybody I've showed it to, they knew it was AI, but they also said the hair on their arms stood up and they got the tingly feeling. So what is the purpose of marketing? It's to invoke an emotional reaction that makes your brand memorable so that people know that you exist and might want to take interest in your stuff. That's the goal. Good marketing and bad marketing is not AI dependent. It's good marketing or bad dependent.
To your point, Adam, you're saying like there are people using AI in their marketing right now, and it's allowing them to build more good stuff, and you wouldn't even notice because they're following up with it right. It's the people that are using as the lazy way out, aren't putting the effort into it, aren't double checking it, that are.
Yeah, I got
causing
a
issues.
Christmas light contractor who tripled his business last year, and I didn't do it. I was a a guide, but he did the ads. And he did these really funny Christmas light ads where a guy was like tied up in Christmas lights, and he was, because of the whole tangling of Christmas lights problem, like don't be held hostage by your Christmas lights. And then he's also built something like Dope Marketing, but in Canada, where he takes like 1,000 houses and puts Christmas lights, so changes the Google Street image to like dark, and then adds Christmas lights and makes them their own personalized postcard, and it's all automated by AI, and then delivers them a postcard saying like, this is what your house could look like this Christmas. And he's getting like returns on ad spend that are unheard of. And and part of it is because it's effective. The other part of it is because it's ridiculously low cost. It's costing him 7 cents, right? And like Dave Carroll, another example, showed me the back end of what he's releasing in Dope 360. He does 200 designs a day. And he's been doing designs like at that scale for years. And he has a team of like 24 designers. And the product that he released, it's actually good. And he spent a full weekend going through 2,000 designs saying, this one's good, that one's bad, this one's good, this one's good, that one's bad, that one's bad. Trained the image generation model, and for a very low cost, and he's not charging the customers a retail price. He's charging the customers like a 10% markup, but he's basically making it so you can go on Dope 360, pick a template for garage doors and turn it into an HVAC postcard, and it'll cost you next to nothing, like literally like indiscernible on the price. And he'll go down to a design team of 3. So like there's 3 really good like real world examples of how, so AI in marketing, it's too generalized a statement. And that's why I like the saying that AI is like plastic surgery. You only notice it when it's bad.
Let's talk about the demographic here too, right? Like my parents are probably going to have a harder time identifying AI than my younger siblings, right? Like the older crowd, no offense to them, but yeah, younger people spot it easier, right? But like, who is the target in our industry specifically? Who is the target audience? Boomers own the majority of houses, right? Like it's typically older clientele.
But it's also changing. Like, your customers also getting younger and younger.
I don't think the average home buyer age has gotten less. Someone check that, but yeah, I think it's like been increasing, or maybe it's coming down a little bit, but it's still
But
way up there.
I get it, but also people who use AI and social media. Do you remember like 10 years ago, 70-year-olds did not use Facebook. Now every elder has like watching their kids, and everybody used to Facebook, right? So 2 scenarios.
Wait, the reason I bring this up is that full circle is like in our industry, we're going to be able to get away for home services in general. Because the home buyer group is older, you're going to be able to get away with using crappy AI longer, but you're going to fall behind. If you're selling tech products and stuff to a younger audience, makeup, whatever else you might want to do to a younger audience, you're going to have a much harder time pushing AI slop and crappy AI. They're going to notice, right? So I think we're going to go to a point where, yes, our industry is going to fall behind because people are going to be able to get away with crap.
So here's
I
what
mean, keep on. This is 3 years old, guys. But Dimitri, I know you have some good points, and I'm interested to hear them because I think they're valid.
So this is how I see AI and user experience aging. It's dropping off the cliff so fast. I talked to a contractor other day, and they used to do print. Like in Florida, print a few years ago, people still were reading. Today, I would say we stop as a nation. We stop reading. Even older people, like if you actually study consumer behavior, everything is aging so quick. So people like attention span shortens, spend more time on social media. We're getting used to this stuff so fast. So like you cannot even compare what we did a year ago. Like here's what I predict: 6 months from now, we are so used to AI posting and stuff that we're just scroll right through it. And right now, Instagram, Facebook, all the platforms, they recognize it. So here's what's trending today: love it or hate it, but polished content, studio content like this, it's actually old school. Like nobody's doing it anymore. Like platform wants you to be not only original, but they want you to be eating burger and talking to the camera, because that's not, I mean, can it be AI? Yes, but it's also not polished, raw content. So that
Should we start recording the podcast on the roof? Jake, we need to move the cameras. We're going on the roof. Because it's true, though. I know what you're saying is the platforms do tend to look at what's not AI.
Your picture in a jet was so authentic that it got so much engagement.
How do you
right?
find a way to bring this up every time?
Because it was original, right? There's no AI post can bring you that much engagement from roofing industry about PA driving,
All
flying.
the videos of me walking around on a roof talking to my phone do tenfold better than anything I'm reposting from us in the studio. Like if I'm just on a roof and I'm like, insurance companies suck, every time that blows up.
So
It's crazy.
here's my take on AI generators. So I see companies out there who trying to streamline. The message is don't do anything. You don't have time for it. Plug it in here, and every day is gonna put. Like imagine following business account. I don't care how big you are, Ford, Tesla, or a local roofer. That every single day it's AI generated copy and image versus somewhere where a business owner, like Gary Vee says, if you're the business owner, you can go turn on your camera every day, say, my name is Dimitri, I'm a founder of directory.com. Here's what I do. Here's the problem I solve. And every single day, you're going to find more audience and more, even if it's the same message, you still going to attract some people because it's you sharing what you do, right? And compare it to business who post daily, but it's all AI. So I think there's a mix. Like you definitely can
I
use
will say,
creativity.
actually, one of the highest engagement posts we got was because AI messed up a photo, which led to people talking smack in the comments, which then led to like a ton of people. It was the most engagement I think we've ever got on a post on LinkedIn specifically. It was like 60,000 impressions or something. And it was literally because the AI like had shown the tarping weird in the photo. And people like instantly were like, oh, did anyone else notice? Then they get to the comments and there's all these other discussions. So like, if you're going to use AI, just use it really, really bad to the point that it offends people, and then you get engagement too. Sorry, it's a good way to use it.
You're speaking with the concept of like AI commoditizing a race to the bottom. We saw this in text, right? Like now it's really hard to find a really great writer that you want to follow because you see a long piece of text and you just assume it's AI, even if it doesn't have all the AI tells, right? There's a thing called humanizer, right? So anytime my AI writes something, there's a skill that references a Wikipedia article where everybody maintains this Wikipedia article of all the tells of AI writing. And then anything that gets written by my agent gets humanized. Basically, it references that Wikipedia article and removes it, right? And then gives itself a score, and it can't push anything out unless it scores a 75. That's something that had to come in to quality check AI writing. And so the same thing happens in video, but you're talking about the commoditization effect where like faceless YouTube videos suck, right? And even like AI generated face videos suck. And so you're right that the real commodity, the real value going forward, like Dimitri's YouTube and personal brand was like 6 out of 10 valuable 5 years ago. Today, it's 11 out of 10 valuable because people want real people, because trust is going to become a moat going forward. So everybody should absolutely be investing in their personal brand and the trust that they've built. The one weakness in Spencer Pratt's campaign is that when he was able to generate as much attention as he did with his funny AI videos, there just wasn't enough content out there of him personally speaking on his issues because he was so new. So people, if you attract and build attention and get awareness of your thing out with something that is good AI, right? The not bad plastic surgery, but the good plastic surgery, you get the attention, then the goal is to then bring it back to say, oh, is this trust? And then there's real content. But there's different types of products, right? Like if you're marketing skinny tea in a water bottle, the days of paying a pretty girl $5,000 for 3 posts about your skinny tea, when you compare that to $16 in Higgsfield AI credits, there's a value change there, right? Where people don't need as much trust to know about a bottle of a new water bottle with a different handle or a skinny tea that smells like lavender. They don't need as much trust for that. But when you're talking about the level of stuff that you do, Sam, or what I do, or Dimitri, what you do, your personal brand attached to directory is worth way, way, way more today than it was before, because directory can be replicated. The technology, the website, even getting the network out there can be replicated. But the other competitors to directory don't have the trust of a human person with a reputation. That's what you've got. That's that moat that you're talking about. And in that lens, completely agree with you. That's why I'm sitting in a studio today. Even as a big pundit of AI, I am investing more heavily in my own personal brand today than before, because the only thing that matters is me talking to that camera and people hearing real words out of my mouth.
When Adam is done talking, there's nothing to add to it. He's like,
It's like, well, he covered all three bases. No, yes, I agree with Adam. Is that personal brand matters? Humans like humans. I was on the phone with someone earlier, and they were talking about how they spent hundreds of thousands. Their own a roofing company in Minnesota. They've spent hundreds of $1,000s on marketing. And I said in the conversation, door-to-door sales beats everything every time, no matter what. No matter what you spend on marketing, door-to-door sales is the best return. Because marketing, you're throwing the money in, you're hoping you get it back. Door-to-door sales, you're typically not paying a rep unless they bring some in. Like, but I genuinely believe it's because there is that human interaction, and humans like humans. No matter how much, like, even like I sold all through COVID, and people were like, hiding in their houses, didn't want to talk to anyone. Like, yes, human interaction outsells everything when you're selling to humans. Adam, the question I have for you next, which is going to be a long answer. I know it's coming. What happens when consumer AI gets so good that it starts blocking, right? Because imagine on the internet, we had all these ads and pop-up ads, and then people got ad blockers, right? Or like, oh, well, people started spamming text. Well, now you got, your iPhone automatically texts, or someone tries calling you, now it says spam alert, right? What happens when people's technology starts blocking all this AI?
I don't think it's blocking AI. It's that the consumer is catching up to the enterprise in terms of AI use for consuming. And tools are being made. If you watch the Google I/O event, they talk about all the consumer technology that's coming in. Good example, you see a blue dress, right? The manufacturer has put all the specifications of that blue dress online. So now when their AI knows your body composition, you can do a virtual try on. Well, this blue dress is available from 5 different retailers. So it's like Trivago for travel, right? And you say, I like this blue dress. It's priced at 70, but I'm a buyer at 50. So you can put it on a price shop watch list for 50 bucks. Well, then Google's going to go and sell and say, hey, all the people who sell this blue dress, we think that you could get 1,000 buyers if you reduced your price to $55, right? So then a distributor, a seller, can basically put out there that they're price dropping to $55, and then everybody gets that notification and buys the dress. So that's one way where like it's literally agents talking to agents. Like the revenue agent at the blue dress company is telling them that that there's a market of buyers at this price, and then there's a bunch of humans that have said, I'm in the market at this price. So that's one piece. Another piece that really needs to come out, just like when we had credit cards going into computers, people didn't trust it. People don't trust AI agents to buy yet, but agent to agent commerce is already out there, and Stripe is already building for it. And if you go to isitagentready.com, you can like test your website if it's agent ready, and then you can start to work towards making your website agent commerce. And for perspective, everybody here is old enough to remember when they had a business and people said your website needs to be mobile responsive because 20, 30, 50% of website traffic was mobile now. Do you remember that phase?
oh yeah.
Right? And the people who responded first won, right? The people, because if your website didn't work on mobile, people just went away. Well, people started losing business when when traffic was at 30, 40, 50%. 2 months ago, it was at 51%. That's when that Is It Agent Ready website was launched, was when it was at 51%. Yesterday, it was reported that 57% of all website traffic is agents now. So the consumers are not going to block AI slop. They're going to shop through their ChatGPT, through their Claude, through their Gemini, through their Google app. And Apple's recent event is all about trust and safety, and buried under all the stuff for kids is the stuff about agentic commerce.
Okay, Dimitri, I have a question for you. Given all that, because Adam's pretty much saying that like commoditized services, commoditized products are neutralized. There's no winning anymore. Like it's not you weren't that aggressive with it, but like essentially like you're not going to be able to use AI to get through this stuff because they're going to be shopping through the AIs. How do you, if you own a roofing company or in the roofing space or home service space, right? Because that's the majority of our audience. What can you do to prevent your company from becoming commoditized? I know we've talked about it before, but if you had to give like the one thing that you need to do to stop looking like every other roofing company or to provide value beyond, what do you do?
They ask you answer, right? So my answer to I'm not actually buying AI, and I'll give you 2 experiences from this week. Experience 1, I have a broken car, and I was looking for a mobile mechanic. So I went to ChatGPT, find me local mechanic. ChatGPT gave me like 4 I called all 4 of them. I could not talk to a person. Nobody is returning. Nobody, right? So I found mechanics, but I did not find anybody who can actually help. And I wanted someone. So that one experience. Second experience, I bought a furniture from Home Depot, and I bought one of those assembly, $300 to put it together. So furniture arrives on Wednesday, and they're like, and I'm texting actually the number like, hey, when is assembly? It's supposed to be Friday, and now they say it's like next Tuesday. So I have like 16-year-old who can assemble it. I'm like, can I cancel it because I don't like this experience? So I'm chatting with a chatbot, same thing. I'm not getting my answer. I paid $300. There's no human on the other side. I'm frustrated. So yeah, I have all the tools, all AIs, but I don't have a human on the other side. To answer your question, you have a human to answer. You call me, I answer. You come to me. I'm changing my business model to that concierge service, a directory. I don't want to just give you like, oh, here's your 3 contractors. I want to be like, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, where you're in Chicago, Illinois. I have 3 guys next to you. Like Joe Bridge, like he's an amazing guy. Like, right? People want interaction. People do business with people. Build your personality, build your expertise, become number 1 in your space. I don't care if you're a pool guy, if you're a mechanic. If when people need your service, they find you. If they trust that you're number 1 expert in that zip code and whatever, I feel like AI later will be able to say, hey, this is the guy who is number 1 in this area.
So you're saying to all the business owners, don't use AI for marketing sales. Don't use it for your front end. You can use it, are you okay with them automating for finances, invoicing, maybe stuff during the process, back end follow-up? But you're saying on the front end, you need to be human.
In the front end, you have to prove to AI that you are number 1 choice. And you're not number 1 choice because your ChatGPT drops 5 Facebook posts a day. That happens when people around you vote for you, review you, give testimonial about you. When you're truly number 1 in that space, that's it. Like you made it. But that does not happen on advertising. It happens when everybody's talking about you, right? Like when people actually have experience. And for roofing companies, I would say if a roofing company answer internally phone calls, go to appointments right away, like that old school glow and reputation, like referral business is still, I would argue that referral is number 1 marketing, not door knocking, right? Because for every customer who hired you, that's a referral. That's the people who's talking about you. It's way more, has a higher ROI than door knock. I mean, you can door knock 100 doors a day, but when you do good job, that's where you get another good job from that good job, and it just multiplies.
Referrals are the best ROI. Adam?
So what we're really talking about here is products versus services, first of all, right? These things exist on a continuum, right? So it's like a deliverable versus an outcome, right? And then, to Dimitri's point, absolutely. They ask, you answer, experience, expertise, authority, trust, like the signals, right? And then it comes down to like 1-way door decisions and 2-way door decisions. So like, getting addressed is kind of a 2-way door decision. You can return it. Then there's like risk, right? So, or I guess for versus a roof, which is a 1-way door decision. You can't really reverse a roof as much, but then there's risk, You will look at 4.8 stars and 5 stars for a nail salon within 15 minutes of you. But if one you can get in today and one you can't get in for 2 days, you'll pick the 4.8 to get your nails done today because there's a level of risk that's quite low, right? Whereas roofing, you might make a decision between 4.7 and 5, and then availability, right? And so what you're really seeing in your experiences, Dimitri, is exactly the problem that I was talking about, which is that the consumer, in your case, you were willing to experiment with being an agentic commerce customer, but the businesses in your market have not become agentic commerce businesses. They have not fulfilled that because it's hard. It's hard on the product side. It's even harder on the service side, because if you want to sell a service, there needs to be some of that business primitive, that knowledge of the problem. A customer, when they're phoning a roofing company, they need to feel like they moved meaningfully towards solving the problem. Like when you first start the roofing company, Dimitri, you got an Angie lead way back in the day when Angie's List was good. You pick up the phone to the lead at 7:00 at night, and the customer says they have a leak in their garage, and you talk to them about like, where's it coming in? Is it coming down a beam? And they're like, yeah. And like, oh, it could be, do you have a second story right above, like a bedroom? And they're like, yeah, it could be the wall flashing. It could be going behind there. And they go, you know what? That makes sense. And now they feel like they moved meaningfully towards solving the problem. And then your close rate was 70%. So then you're like, I got a business. So then you hire a receptionist and a sales guy, and the close rate goes to 25, 30%. Why? Because the receptionist wasn't moving the customer meaningfully towards solving the problem, and there was no pre-built relationship when they got to the house. We're solving that today with things like inside-outside sales, but that is really just a mechanism for trying to get the deliverable, which is the customer moving meaningfully towards solving their problem on a service business with a one-way door decision that is high risk, right?
Absolutely.
And so there's open loop and closed loop workflows that happen in there, and it's any job you want to hire, right? But like, I don't want to talk forever, but like I could on the subject, but it's a big one.
Let's go to the next category here. I want to quickly touch on what really changed in the past 12 months. What can a roofing company do today with AI that was flat out impossible 12 months ago? Like, what's the biggest change, Adam? You're on the front line.
Yeah.
Right.
So I was just asked this question today by John Starry because I reached out to a bunch of our roof claw customers and I said, "Hey, how's your roof claw? Like, anything cool you've been getting it to work on?" And he listed off a bunch of things, but he said like my LSA agent has been the absolute best implementation I've done of it so far. So we released an open source. Anybody can get it. It's free. They can just plug it into their agent, and it will allow them to monitor Google LSA for replies. It'll get that initial reply out because a lot of customers on Google local service ads, and any roofer in the room will hear this. Sometimes they don't give you the phone number, and you have to click that little button that says click to reveal phone number. Sometimes they don't give you the email, right? And then they have like a short question. Sometimes it's a guy saying, I got 30 bundles of shingles. How much do you want to pay for them? And other times it's a legitimate request. And so the whole name of the game is response speed, right? The velocity and how fast you respond, and the frequency. Levi Oslin talks about how the company he worked for, they did 17 touches in 72 hours, and that's how they got a 76% booking rate on Angie's and local service ads and everything else. So this thing will actually open up the browser when you get the email, go into Google local service ads. First say like, is this some guy trying to sell us 30 bundles of shingles or not? If there's a phone number, click the thing to show the phone number, scrape all that stuff, put it in my CRM, but get the conversation going right away. And then that way a human has time to like get in there. If they're an inside sales that's doing a job follow-up call and they're not able to respond to the LSA lead right away. So that's been his biggest thing. The other thing that was even more interesting was another commercial roofer we have. One of the hardest parts about commercial roofing is that there's a ton of work, and they go to these competitive bid boards and there's tons of jobs on there. And then they'll put a document on there that's like 700 pages long, and section 7, there's 49 pages about the roof spec. And so you're stuck downloading these huge PDFs, trying to figure out which jobs you want to bid. So his roof claw would go to the bid boards, and it scrapes all the bids, looks for the ones that meet his criteria. It doesn't require a bid bond, doesn't require it's not close to a water source, so it doesn't need that insurance for water run, all these little things, right? And it puts in like the daily bid brief package, and then he's even got it now where it can do the scope from a very like choreographed inspection, like clockwise around the building, walk the roof like a lawnmower, like everything is very specific. The third picture is
Did you just
always
say walk the roof like a lawnmower?
yeah, like how you mow your lawn, you know what I mean? Like
Okay.
so it knows that
All
the
right.
17th
That's a
photo
Canadian thing. Yeah.
is like in an order. So it knows is right. Yeah, we don't do the hatchy thing that you guys do. We don't have that kind of money up here. But
You don't use freaking underlayment in Canada, okay? How many roofs I've seen in Canada with us?
Have you guys tried democracy yet? No, sorry, wrong topic.
working on, we get internet next week. So hopefully I can get power to my igloo. So the concept is like he's taken all of the hard work of like finding the right projects to bid and put it into the point where like every day his estimators are getting the daily bid brief, and it's like 5 projects to bid from the 30 that are on this list. And then the second piece is actually writing professional scopes because he's got these guys who are really good at doing inspections and really like understand what's wrong with the roof, but they suck at putting it into words. And so he put all the NRCA docs in there and everything like that. And so this agent can take the inspection and actually write a really good, proper scope. And he said, like, a job that took me 2 weeks, I did in 2 hours. Right. And so, and this is a lot of work. This is not something you build in a weekend with ChatGPT or Claude Code. It is an enormous amount of pre-work that has to go into it. But like, those are some really cool, like, well, the LSA one is pretty quick, but the other one is huge.
Yeah. I think your question was, what could you have not done 12 months ago? And it's like 90% what Adam just talked about. Like, it was like 12 months ago, you were still like build a workflow. And then at this point in that workflow for make.com or N8N, it would ask ChatGPT a question with this info, and then you'd have the ChatGPT answer. All right, go to the next step. Like, it was very clunky. It was literally building like, what was that software, Scratch, they used to play in like high school, where it was like teaching you how to use, make workflows and stuff. It's like, it was that 12 months ago. Now it's on a different level. So yeah.
Let's finish with the ego part. Bigger picture. Does AI make average operators feel like experts, and is that dangerous? Because what I see is a lot of people who don't have any true expertise. Like back in the day, you used to argue with idiots who like just Google stuff,
I
right?
do that for a living now, actually.
All right, I believe you. We all do, but especially with the keyboard warriors, right? You're trying to have someone argument with someone, and they're Googling it. They're not experts. Whether it's politics, whether it's what's happening in Ukraine and Russia, wherever, like they just, everybody has an opinion. But now with the ChatGPT, you can get an opinion and share it as your opinion, thinking so much about yourself.
I mean, what's your actual question? Like, are people getting dumber with it?
No, does AI make average operators feel like experts, and is it dangerous?
Yeah, I would say like anytime you give an idiot a new tool, they feel smarter with it, right? But like, I think Adam can contest to this and tell me if I'm wrong. But when I started actually getting into a lot of the AI stuff, which was like 3 months ago, I've been using it for a long time, but like 3 months ago, I really went all in. I talked to Adam. I was like, all right, I'm going to commit to this. And I've seriously consumed so much time. Now I feel like, I don't have enough time in the day. Like beyond every single second, I'm thinking, I'm like, I need to get to my desk and start working on this. But it's made me feel dumber because there's so many things that starts building, and I'm like, I would have never thought to do this. I would never thought, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I would need 50 people on a team to get all of this compressed. That would take me 6 months, and now it did 90% of that without me, And so I think actually anyone that's really into AI probably feels dumber now and is like taking a step back and being like, oh my gosh, this, Adam, have you had that same feeling?
Yeah, and the key things that you said there was like 90%. AI is so good at getting you 90% of the way to a 100-hour project in 2 hours.
It's
And it
1080-10, as
Yeah.
your best friend Dan Martell always says.
Yeah, it's the going to that last 10% is really, really tough. But I do think that like, what is the like because you're saying ego, right? People start thinking that they are able to solve problems they can't solve, and that is the ego. Is like, and is it dangerous? I think it's more dangerous for them than it is for the people, unless they're selling something, right? Because a lot of people can look like they're able to do something and then they will sell it. So you see it, every roofing company is a tech founder now, and they're trying to like sell CRMs that you look at their website and like the reporting that they're showing is an AI generated image. It's not actually in the software. Like there's like the blurry words in the corner and stuff like that. And like these are people that are getting on podcasts. These are people who are speaking on stages, people with a personal brand, right? So it is giving people an ego because they're not saying I know this. They're saying I have access to the information about this. But there's a counter argument in that I think that the general level of people to be able to satisfy a piece of information they don't know so quickly has a general uplifting effect. And so you see this a lot in the international view on AI. So the biggest proponents of AI are disadvantaged countries, South America, South America, some of the like Eastern Asian company groups, because they're now suddenly capable of serving these other markets. Whereas you see a general discontent with AI from America, like North America and Europe, like London. So or England. So like it's a complicated issue. It really, really is. But and I think that that's where that ego needs to be checked. And I think the invisible hand of capitalism will check it. And I think the subsidization of AI will do it. Because right now, if you pay $200 a month for Claude Max or ChatGPT Unlimited or whatever, you're really getting around $5,000 worth of AI. And that's coming to an end. When these IPOs happen, you're not going to see these crazy subsidized AI things. And now people are going to be left like not having learned anything in this incredible opportunity period. So the time is like really right now. And you want to understand the tool, not fake it that you're smart.
I think
That's the best point you've made this whole time. Sorry, not cut you off, but this is something you can relate to is like meta ads. At one point were so dirt cheap compared to what they are now. Before that, it was Google ads, right? Before that, it was, I don't know, TV, late night TV stuff. So it's like, I do agree with you, Adam, that AI as a technology, as a tool is so funded right now and so cheap compared to what it'll be. It probably will correct itself and it'll price most people out, because once everyone realizes how valuable it is and it really is full scale, like it is, and it's not a race to the bottom on the pricing. It's going to be.
I think it's going to be cheaper. I mean, look what happened to Google. Look what happened to Facebook is free. Instagram is YouTube is free.
Yeah, but those were free to get an audience because the audience isn't their product, right? Like you using Facebook makes Facebook nothing. It's selling you advertisement.
I think their model gonna be. They're already talking about it. I think ChatGPT will be just like Google. You just see ads. So the entry, because nobody's gonna pay.
Yeah, I think that ChatGPT announced that, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They can't pass it on.
Like you're not, the thing is like you won't be getting 5.5 Pro and Claude Mythos 5 in your free with ads plan, right?
Yeah.
Like and so you want to like I said this a long time ago when ChatGPT first came out with a $200 plan. I said if you're not paying for the $20 plan and learning how to use this tool at $20, then you won't see the value in paying 200. And if you don't know how to use it when it's at 200, you won't see value when it's 2000. And when it costs 20,000, if you didn't learn how to make money with it at 2000, then you are going to see the have and have nots of this technology. And it's going to create a wealth concentration that is very scary. And that's not like my interpretation. That's like the people who are working at these AI companies who are in like charge of safety or security, and they're like quitting their jobs and moving to Ireland to go fishing because they're like, I'm just going to enjoy my last couple of years. I'm not trying to be one of the AI doomsday people. I'm a very big proponent on AI, but like what I am saying is that the whole permanent underclass thing is a real fear, and it comes from the fact that like just like in the high inflation market that we've had since 2008, you should invest in assets, right? And everybody said that for a long time, but how many people do?
No, let's go down the doomsday rabbit hole. I enjoy this. One last section. Why not? We got time. The doomsday side of it, Adam. At one point, everyone was farmers, and then tractors came along. And then everyone was office workers, and then webcams came along. Like there's this constant, there's probably way better analogies that Gary Vee probably has 100 of them, but it's like, there's been these progressions. The worry with where we're at right now is we don't know what's left for humans after AI is at full scale, right? It's going to get very difficult for there to be anything left for humans. But we also thought with that with farming, our creative is really what stands out. The thought process behind it, the coordinating behind it, the final 10% you're talking about. And so my idea is if you're not in that final 10% of decision maker, which is business owners, executives, or like your job is just proof checking things, you're at risk, and you're going to be a farmer 20 years after the equipment comes out. But now it's not 20 years for it to everything to catch up. You're saying it's like within a couple of years, it'll catch up.
What you're kind of seeing as what you're kind of seeing as the issue is like it's the ability for a person to acquire wealth, right? So caveman days, you get a stick and you're a better hunter, you can feed a tribe, right? Then you're a farmer, but then the industrialists come out, and now one man can own enough wealth creation to feed a city or a country. And then the information technologists come out, and you have the wealth creation that you can own multi-generations of nation level wealth, right? And then what happens when everything is paying a tokenized economy to 4 companies, right? And then when those jobs that it replaces there's not an immediate replacement of those. Like it's the whole Luddite fallacy where they said like when the looms came out, the Luddites would smash the looms because it was taking their jobs, and the whole thing is like, well, they were wrong because it created more jobs. The problem is it took 2 generations to do it. We saw this with the industrialization of America, where they deindustrialized, sent those jobs overseas, and nothing really came back to fill them in.
You're taking the stance that it's not going to take 2 generations. It's going to be so instant and abrupt, we're not going to have time to adapt. That's the doomsday theory, right?
Very instant and abrupt. It's going to affect knowledge workers, consultants right now. It just came out today. McKinsey is now like 40% of their pricing is now outcome based because they can't get away with charging $1.5 million for research that they did in a few hours. And the customers are now saying, I'm not paying you that money anymore. And so consulting firms are moving towards outcome-based pricing. We'll take 5% of the business, or we will take 8% of the outcome. And so that's the first stages of it. The decommoditization of AI is going to mean that this is not not decommoditization, subsidization of AI will make it so there has and have nots, people who have not learned how to use the tool to generate an ROI. And then as you see physical AI come in, and so it's going to come down, like the government's going to try and solve it with universal basic income. And I think companies have a responsibility to look at this. And so that's part of the project that I'm working on, that, why I'm trying to come back to the States is because I have a plan about how roofers as physical AI can prevent themselves from being completely displaced. But you're already seeing concepts like this, a company called Human Archive, right? That is paying people to train the AI. But what happens when it comes in its place? There will be a period of dystopia before you reach a new level of like utopia, where you see this great economic boom. There'll be a short period, but we have all kinds of other human elements that are going to come in. People are going to bomb data centers. People are going to block them from being built. People are going to boycott AI. You're going to have the humanists that don't want to use it. You're going to see all kinds of disruptive events along the way.
I think it's called, isn't it iRobot? Wasn't that the movie?
Yeah.
Well, I mean but the thing is that it does, like, look at the jobs report, right? We tripled expectations in the jobs report because AI right now is creating more jobs because so many companies are now looking for ways to take advantage of this technology. So there's this guy, Nate Jones, and he talks about the surface area of your AI skill is going to create all kinds of really interesting jobs going forward. But there is going to be a part of the economy that gets left behind, and we're concerned about what is the implications of that on society, on families, on fathers having a purpose, right? These are all really big concerns that I have, and I feel a responsibility to start educating about it, and that's largely what this content that I'm doing is about.
Well, let's wrap it up. I have 2 questions. Let's do 2 minutes per question. Give me one AI. I know it's hard for you, Adam, but let's try. Give me one AI prediction for roofing that people will laugh at today but believe in 3 years.
Insurance companies are going to be done coming out to roofs. Meeting adjusters on site will be over within 3 years.
So you think it will be done?
It'll be done. I'll tell you, we could probably finish it right now. Like, there's no need. I mean, there's already claims we get on where the insurance doesn't come out because our reports are good enough. So, yeah, within 3 years, all of your meeting a state farm adjuster or a Seek Now person doesn't actually make any decisions. Like, that's going to be gone. AI is going to extinguish that. So, industry specific. Yeah.
Okay. Bold. Adam?
Adam Sand will have a humanoid robot on a roof nailing a shingle in 3 years.
I don't even know if I have one. I think we're going to have a big bubble. I think economy will collapse after all 3-4 companies will go public. I think it's going to be big money grab for all 3-4, and a massive money grab. Yes, and then I believe it's going to crash, and we're pretty much watching a redistribution of wealth in this country, which very sad to see. They're pushing it on us. The value is not what they're pushing. I mean, we don't have a couple $1 trillion in AI value.
I don't know if I would say they're pushing on us. Like, as cynical as I am, as like, anti-government, I may be.
No, demand is there. Demand. They
Correct.
Here's how they're pushing it on us. And it's actually a genius business model. So what they are doing is it's actually been created in Russia in 90s. We have a Russian oligarch who created the system. And the guy who used to work with him came to United States. It's pretty like the system is very, very simple. So let's say you own a business and the business does not have funds stuff, and you go borrow $100 million. And now you invested in this business invest in this business, and this business invest back in yours. So now you create this full circle. The money is made, but no value is created. So what they're doing right now is, one, like, let's say ChatGPT.
Nvidia invests in OpenAI, and then OpenAI agrees to buy Nvidia chips.
Exactly. So on paper, everybody made money. So they've done it in Russia in 90s. It was genius business. Like few billionaires were made. And there was a Russian Jew, like Berezovsky is the last name. He got suicided in England later when he went against Putin. But anyway, so he kind of invented it. So it was genius on paper. And his assistant came to the United States, and they're doing it like with all these tech companies. So between each other, so they're buying, they create and wealth. And then to us, they're like, hey, we're worth $1.7 trillion. Yeah. And we're like, no,
Didn't you just explain every PE company out there?
PE is a little bit different.
Very similar.
No. PE is...
This is next week's episode, PE.
So PE is... so the model of PE is the trade value of your stock, right? Like two companies, trade at 4x, and if you have 100 companies, it's 40x. So that's PE model. Here is I give you $50 billion, you give him $50 billion, and we go public as a $500 billion company. But nobody, like we're not Walmart. We don't have $500 billion. It's just like we exchange money between each other.
Yeah, like what? Like there's the circle jerk of the AI companies, right? The Nvidia invests in OpenAI. OpenAI buys Nvidia chips. There's a guy who put out a really good infographic on it. And yes, there's that. Then there's all these SPVs that have been created, and SPVs are a good thing, but they are a way to sell blocks of stock without diluting, right? And all of that is all financial mechanisms that are good today, bad tomorrow. Derivatives, the same thing. Right? Like all these things are good today, bad tomorrow. But the fundamentals of the economy lie underneath. And what you're really seeing is you're seeing another a massive infrastructure transformation. It happened in the 1870s in Europe when they did the train tracks. And it happened again in America, localized to America, in the 1900s when they did the train tracks. Because there isn't enough value created immediately by building the railroads. But once the railroads were built, then there was 100 years of economic prosperity created on the backs of the railroads. The same thing with the internet. The internet came out, and then their companies lost billions of dollars. IPOs popped and dropped, and companies were big and small and consolidated because they were laying, hundreds of thousands of miles of fiber that really didn't become useful until mobile internet, like mobile phones used it. So you saw that whole thing happen in the internet craze. This is another major infrastructure build where the fundamental of the technology is good, but the amount of investment required, right, to build the infrastructure for this, there will be winners and losers.
Next week we should talk about how they announced aliens are real. I feel like that's where this podcast is going. We're getting off riff and we're going in conspiracy theories and global economic. No, I'm in agreement, Adam. I'm saying this is important.
It's just that like these patterns are not new. When you zoom out and you say, what is AI? It's a major infrastructure boom, right? It's data centers, it's power, it's cooling, it's all of these things, right? But like, and so when you if you're going to buy the IPO of OpenAI and Anthropic, go ahead, but don't buy it on leverage and don't buy it waiting to get your money back in 3 years. Because the same thing happened to Facebook. When Facebook came out, IPO'd, went up for a bit, went down. How are they going to monetize mobile? 3 years of pain, and then huge again. Like if you're buying OpenAI or Anthropic stock when they go, or the Tesla, the SpaceX one, like don't buy that stock on leverage and don't buy it unless you're planning to hold it for a decade.
Love it. Great way to share. So we don't have time for the last question. We're way past 2 minutes. Good ending for the podcast anyway. Any last words? Like last words, not last sentences, Adam.
If you want AI in your business, in your roofing business, call Adam. If you want AI in your claims process, call me. If you want someone to actually answer your phones, call Dimitri. We're here for you.
What an ending. Thank you, brother, for being with us here today. Thank you for watching. Comment below what you take on the AI.
Roofers, what's the call we all dread? Nails in my tires, dead flower beds. One call like that costs time and trust. That's why we use the catch-all system on every residential job. This breathable net system wraps around the side of the house and fully covers the windows and landscaping. Airflow keeps plants healthy, while thick netting stops nails, shingles, and sharp debris from ever reaching what it's protecting. The result? Cleaner job sites, faster cleanup, and homes that look as good as when we arrived. Our customers notice the extra care, and we do too. Fewer headaches, happier homeowners. If you want a cleaner, more professional install on every roof, get the catch-all system today.